Coming up, a new study from my old university, the University of Bath, shows it wasn't just educational achievement, but also cognitive ability that affected how people voted in the Brexit referendum, mainly because it appears to affect levels of susceptibility to misinformation and disinformation. And in other Brexit news, Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, claims that the UK could be on a path to rejoining the European Union. Stay tuned. I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button, subscribe, and above all, share a link to this video with your social media contacts. New research from the University of Bath School of Management has found that higher cognitive ability was strongly linked to voting to remain in the 2016 UK referendum on European Union membership. The study shows that cognitive skills, including memory, verbal fluency, fluid reasoning, and numerical reasoning, were correlated with how people decided to vote. Of the people with the lowest cognitive ability, only 40% voted Remain, compared to 73% of those with the highest cognitive ability. Lead author Dr. Chris Dawson said, "This study adds to existing academic evidence showing that low cognitive ability makes people more susceptible to misinformation and disinformation." He added, "People with lower cognitive ability and analytical thinking skills find it harder to detect and discount this type of information." He went on to say, "We know that evidence is being put forward that information provided to the public in the months leading up to the referendum was contradictory, false, and often fraudulent, especially regarding the pro-Leave campaign, and that this information proliferated on social media platforms." Dr. Paul Baker, another co-author of the study, said, "Low cognitive ability can lead to decision errors, and many Leave voters are now saying they regret their choice." The study highlights how the rise in misinformation and disinformation and people's inability to counter this information is undermining the democratic process and can be used to influence democratic outcomes. And I agree with him. The rapid progress in the field of artificial intelligence and the related growth in deepfake video and audio recordings means misinformation and disinformation is likely to be a huge factor in the next general election. And as the Tories continue to make it harder and more expensive for people to enter further education, so they're ensuring that the public's susceptibility to what the right wing likes to call alternative facts will only increase. With the poll trackers showing an ever-increasing level of regret amongst the British electorate, this adds pretty convincing evidence that the University of Bath's nationally representative sample of 6,366 individuals has indeed come up with an explanation of why regret is increasing, as more and more people are eventually seeing through the lies and deception of the Leave campaign. On the other hand, Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission, suggests it wasn't just the fault of a gullible English and Welsh public, admitting that European leaders had also, in her words, goofed up over the departure of Britain from the bloc. She suggested that the younger generation could fix it, while claiming that the UK could be on a path to rejoining the European Union, saying, "I must say, I keep telling my children, you have to fix it. We goofed it up. You have to fix it." So I think here too, the direction of travel, my personal opinion, is clear. As you can imagine, this provoked a furious toddler temper tantrum from the man from Ankle, Rishi Sunak, who made it clear to reporters at Westminster that it's through our Brexit freedoms that we are right now considering how to further strengthen our migration system. The issue of small boats crossing the Channel only arose after Brexit. And in fact, after Brexit and our withdrawal from the Dublin Convention, that's one less option we have for dealing with migration across the Channel. Far from a Brexit freedom, it's a Brexit problem, Rishi Sunak's spokesman went on. It is through our Brexit freedoms we are ensuring patients in the UK can get access to medicines faster. Well, that's the same old trope that was trotted out about the UK vaccine rollout. Being a member of the European Medicines Agency never hampered access to medicines, however often the Tories claimed it as a Brexit benefit. Indeed, many medicines are now harder to get hold of due to Brexit-related red tape, meaning it takes longer for medicines to reach pharmacies in this country. And what other Brexit freedoms were you thinking of, Rishi? that there is improved animal welfare. This is utter nonsense. EU regulations only specify minimum standards for member countries. There is no way that EU membership ever restricted raising animal welfare standards in the UK. It's utter bullshit from our toddler-in-chief. Brexit freedoms, Brexit benefits, 7 years after the referendum, and I'm still waiting to hear of a single real benefit of Brexit, as opposed to an alternative facts Brexit benefit. But going back to Ursula von der Leyen, there's no denying that her warm words and optimism about the UK rejoining the EU are a result of improving relations between the two parties, following their all but total collapse under the shambolic Boris Johnson and his sidekick, the ignorant whiskey salesman David Frost. Sunak, to be fair, appears to have a pretty good personal relationship with the European Commission President, developed during their negotiations over an improved deal for Northern Ireland and further enhanced when the UK negotiated a return to the Horizon programme. But unfortunately, Sunak has a massive impediment to making the most of this relationship. It's called the Parliamentary Conservative Party, every member of whom was vetted for their pro-Brexit credentials before being selected as a parliamentary Tory candidate in Johnson's 2019 general election. As long as the Tories remain in power, there is no appetite in the EU to see a return of a toxic Tory UK to the fold. But with a Keir Starmer Labour government, that drag anchor could be removed. Which makes me even more furious that Starmer is being ultra cautious on any idea of applying to rejoin the EU, instructing his spokesperson to say this: "We want a good working relationship with the European Union. We want to improve some of the issues there are on subjects like trade. But no, we're not rejoining in any form." If Starmer isn't careful, he'll be the last leader of any major political party still arguing against rejoining. Polling consistently shows a majority of voters in the UK would now back rejoining the EU if asked to do so at a referendum. Here's a graph showing the results of all the credible 2023 polls so far carried out, with the latest survey by Delta Poll published in late November showing rejoining on 48% and staying out on only 36%, a 12-point lead. Come on, Starmer, get a grip. Be brave for once. Deliver what the British electorate now overwhelmingly want, and what the President of the European Commission would also love to see: a detoxified, post-Tory Britain applying to rejoin the European Union.